We have going a live simulcast on Spreaker is the audio, and here on YouTube is the video. Welcome everybody. This is the word according to me, AJ Tripp, and we are getting ready to talk about the college football season and the playoff. Starts tonight, Ohio State versus Indiana on ESPN. It should be a fun game. Indiana was very good last year, and of course, Ohio State went into the college football playoff, and that's what I'm really going to focus on is the playoff exact. I'm going to talk about my local teams here in Chicago and in the surrounding areas, but instead of, because you got 116, 118 some odd teams, I can't talk about all of them, so I'm just going to talk about the entire season. What I'm just going to talk about really is just the 4 teams I am predicting to make the college football playoff. And then I'm going to talk about my local teams really quick. So here on Spreaker, I'm not a paying member. I only get 15 minutes. So once the 15 minutes is up on Spreaker, make sure you go over it on YouTube, A20, and you will find the rest of it. Because I'm sure I'm going to go over 15 minutes because I like to elaborate on a lot of things. First, let me really first give you the teams I think are going to make it. I am predicting Michigan, USC, Alabama, and Oklahoma to each make the college football Final Four. I think teams like Ohio State, teams Washington, who made it last year. I think my favorite team, Notre Dame, as you can see by the jersey, all have a shot at making this a Final Four. But those are the 4 teams I am hoping will make my predictions look good. I really don't care. But this is what I would like for them to see. So let's look at the 2017 Michigan Wolverines and look at what they have going for them. It starts Saturday. They have Florida. Five players, were suspended from Florida, and so they're without. I mean, even the star receiver. So they're without 5 players. So this should be an excellent game. I expect Michigan to win. They didn't have Cincinnati. They have Air Force. Then they get into their Big Ten schedule: Purdue, Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Ohio State. Now, out of that schedule, Florida, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State are the only teams ranked on their schedule. They have 4 teams that are ranked. Now, of course, there are going to be teams that will jump up and be better than they are, and maybe even like a team like Penn State that's ranked 6th, and Wisconsin that's ranked 9th. They will end up really falling back to the pack a little bit, but I think with only 4 ranked teams, and I think Michigan team is good enough that they can beat Florida, Penn State, and Wisconsin. Now, all worries on that Ohio State game. They should go into that game 11-0, waiting for the Ohio State Buckeyes, who this year they come to Michigan, they come to the Big House, so that should give them an advantage. So I'm going to say right now, prediction: Michigan State goes 12-0. They get into the Big Ten championship game. They win that one 13-0, and that's how they make the college football playoff. Let's go to USC, and let's talk about them. The USC Trojans. I think they're with Sam Darnold, who I think best thing about Sam Darnold is actually his grandfather. I can't remember right now, but his grandfather has like this great name, and I can't forget it. But you can just go and search it and look for it, and it's funny. Now Sam Darnold is the quarterback of USC Trojans. You look at their schedule. They start against Western Michigan. They get directly into Pac-12 play with Stanford, number 14. Then they take a week off. They go to Texas, who ranked 23rd. They got Cal. Then they have the Washington State. I don't forget what their thing is. I mean, maybe they're the Wildcats too. Everybody's a fucking Wildcat. They're the 24th ranked team. They have Oregon State, Utah. Then they go to Notre Dame. At Arizona State, Arizona, at Colorado, and then of course the battle for the Big Bail at UCLA. So I think that if they can get past Stanford, they also have a good opportunity to run the table. They really do. I think they have a good time to run the table to go 12-0, get to that Pac-12 championship game, and then win that one to be 13-0 and 13-0 going into the college football playoff. Now, as a Notre Dame fan, I would like to see them lose, but I'm not going to go there just yet with Notre Dame. When we get to Notre Dame, I'll get to them in a second, but in my opinion, that's what happens with UCLA. I can't talk today. I've been having troubles all day trying to talk, doing my videos and everything. The USC Trojans, I think, go 13-0, and that's how they make the playoff. So let's see. Let's now go to Alabama. The Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, really, a lot of people think that Florida will contend. A lot of people think other teams will contend. But let's give it credit. They don't rebuild, they reload. And the quarterback last year was a freshman, now is a sophomore. What's his face is gone. Lane Kiffin is out of there. So it should be very, very interesting when it comes down to Alabama. And so let's look at their schedule. Saturday, the number 3 ranked Florida State Seminoles. You have Fresno State, Colorado State. Then they get into SEC country. You get Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Arkansas. Number 20, the 25th ranked Tennessee. The 13th ranked Louisiana State. Mississippi State, their homecoming game against Mercer. I have no idea why they do that. And then the number 12 team, Auburn. Let me tell you something. For all of the, we talk about the SEC and the great conference that it is and all of that, teams like Alabama and LSU and Auburn and all of these other things down there, for their homecoming games, they don't stay within their conference, really. They don't. They face teams like Mercer and face teams like, and then once they get there, at halftime is 60-0, and then they have to change the game where the game only becomes 10-minute quarters, and the clock just runs, the clock doesn't stop for nothing, just keeps running so that they don't embarrass the goddamn team. But take that team. Like, guess what? Colorado State? Put Colorado State down there at least. Fresno, yeah, and then put another team. Yeah, Fresno State down there where Mercer is, and then play another team on the road. Play at Notre Dame, right? Play at someone. Play at BYU. Someone that's is in this goddamn FBS. Whatever. If they can get past Florida State, I truly think obviously they will run the table, and they will also be 12-0. I think they'll beat Auburn, and Auburn's ranked number 12. But I think they'll go down there. They'll be 12-0. And then they'll probably play against Florida. And if they can get past Florida in the SEC championship game, I think without question, Alabama, 13-0, 3 undefeated teams make the college football playoff as the way I've had it right now. So Michigan at 13-0, USC at 13-0, and Alabama at 13-0 make the college football playoff, in my opinion. Okay. Got a little time here on Spreaker, so that's good. So now let's check out Oklahoma. Oklahoma coming out of the Big Ten. Now the reason why I'm picking Oklahoma over a team like Florida State or someone from the SEC or even maybe a second Big Ten team like Ohio State or a second SEC team like Florida is I just think that Oklahoma came so close that they are going to do that. So I kind of think that they're just so close. Obviously, Bob Stoops retired. He stepped down. The offensive coordinator is now the new head coach. And I think that this is going to be something that they want to. Now, even though the Big 12 has 10 teams, I think they've said that they're going to do a championship game. So that being said, let's look at their schedule. They have Saturday they're at UTEP, and then next Saturday, big Saturday night game against the number 2 ranked Ohio State. This is one reason why I did not pick Ohio State, because I think Ohio State is not only going to lose to Oklahoma, but they're going to lose to Michigan. So with 2 losses, I don't think Ohio State makes the college football playoff. So that's why I did not choose them. We go to Tulane, we go to Baylor, we get Iowa State. Then they have the Texas in the Red River Shootout. That's going to be interesting. That's always a big game, and literally the saying is you can throw out the records. You can throw out the records on the Red River rivalry because Texas, when they have been bad, and Oklahoma has been good, they have beaten them, and vice versa. When Oklahoma's been good and been bad, and Texas has been good, Oklahoma's beaten them. So that's the game. Now you get past Texas, you got Kansas State ranked number 20th. You have Texas Tech. That's always an interesting one. Then you got Bedlam. Bedlam is early this year for some reason. Bedlam is Saturday, November 4th. That's kind of hurts me as a guy who loves the rivalry weekend. That kind of hurts me that Bedlam is early. But Oklahoma State's number 10. They can get past Oklahoma State, and you have TCU, you have Kansas, and then 22nd ranked West Virginia. Now all these rankings are going to change throughout the season. The teams will lose and go down, or teams will get better and go up. So you never know what these rankings were meant, but I'm going to say that they beat all of these teams. They slip by Oklahoma State, and then they win the next 3. They'll be 12-0 going into this new Big 12 championship game. They'll win the championship game, and then they will also be 13-0. So, for the first time in this new era of the playoff era, 4 teams will be undefeated going into the college football playoff. So, as I see it, 13-0 Michigan, 13-0 USC, 13-0 Alabama, and 13-0 Oklahoma. So with all that being said, Who do I choose to go on? I don't, without trying to rank them, because you never know how the college football playoff committee looks at it. I just say that we have Michigan on one side, we'll have Alabama on the other side. Michigan and Alabama for the national championship, and Michigan wins. Jim Harbaugh brings home a championship to Michigan and the big house. Wolverine Nation goes crazy. Michigan, Jim Harbaugh wins another national championship. Alabama once again falls short 2 years in a row, but give them all the credit in the world for making it back there, losing, but once again reloading instead of rebuilding. And this time, Jalen Hurts is a tremendous player once again, but this time it's once again the defense that lets them down. Michigan's not going to run that offense. They are a pro-style offense. They're going to do what they do. They're not going to up tempo, speed, or anything like that. But I just think that they're going to outplay Alabama. So that's what I think of the college football playoff. Like I said, I think Florida State's still going to be good. Ohio State's still going to be good. I think Washington's still going to be in the mix. I think there are going to be a lot of teams. If some teams falter, one of these teams falter once, maybe even twice, some of those other teams will come up. Like my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I've always rooted for. I've always said that Notre Dame. I know because of the restrictions that Notre Dame is in, they cannot be an every year dominant force like they were in the 80s into the 90s and even in the past. But they should. I say once every 3 years they should make the college football playoff. That's what I think. And then the other years they should be battling for it. They should be battling for a spot. So that's how I think of it. Otherwise, it's kind of like, you should just expect every year, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, not Texas, they're not yet. Michigan, Florida State, these like 6-8 teams to continue to be around the national championship, maybe even Oregon sometime. Maybe Oregon get back on track this year as well. And then maybe you have every night a new team. That shit was Washington. Maybe maybe we get another 6 in there. Maybe Boise State will come up. Who knows? So for my people on Spreaker, I want to thank you guys for listening to this live version of the game according to me. I really appreciate it. And as always, go over right now to April the 20th on YouTube. I'm going to finish up my preview section with the 4 local teams: Notre Dame, Illinois, Illinois, Northern Illinois, and Northwestern. See you guys later. All right. Now let me go ahead and upload that. So now, for those who are still watching here over on YouTube, let's go ahead and let's talk about my local teams here in Illinois. Let's start with Illinois and Lovie Smith, right? So there were some rumors that Lovie Smith wasn't too keen on. He kind of feels like he shouldn't be a college coach. He should be a pro coach. That was some rumors that were out after last season about his feelings about it. But here's my thing about Lovie Smith. I think he is perfect. Perfect person to turn men into boys. I really do. People respect him. I just think, and I think that his defense, the cover 2, could also is probably more of a college defense. I don't think playing cover 2 every time in the NFL works anymore. I just don't. I think to have cover 2 in your defense is obviously everybody has it, but to primarily play cover 2, no matter what situation, nickel cover 2, dime cover 2, 3-3-5 cover 2. I think it just doesn't work, and you have to man up, especially when they spread you out 5 wide. You have to man up and play man. So, but cover 2 in college, I think could work. So let's look at the Illinois Fighting Illini's schedule. They're at home against Ball State, home against Western Kentucky, and then they go to Southern Florida to take on University of Southern Florida, who's ranked number 19 actually. That's interesting. If you guys remember, about 15 Was it 15 years ago? It's been close to about 15 years. Southern Florida was actually ranked number 2 in the country, if you may remember this. They were in the defunct Big East, and they were the number 2 ranked team. That's 15 years ago, but to see them ranked again now is something interesting. So I might be rooting for University of Southern Florida if they can get past Illinois to be that other team, to be part of that Power 5. That's not Power 5, but Power 5 are the big conferences, but part of that other 5. They always put one in that Power 5, and they put them into the Rose Bowl or the whatever. They put them in one of those bowl games. But if they can make it into the playoffs, that would be interesting. Because they have some cachet. They're at home to Nebraska. They're at Iowa, Rutgers, Minnesota, the number 9 Wisconsin, Purdue, Indiana, Ohio State, obviously, and then of course against Northwestern. I think without question, this should be an 8-4 team. That's what I see. I think Lovie Smith under Lovie Smith they should consistently be 8-4. Nothing less, nothing nothing more. But no, actually, let me turn that around. 8-4 is a great record for Lovie Smith for Illinois to have each and every year. Now, if they end up being better than that, 9-3, 10-2, maybe even 11-1 sometimes if they get lucky, if it's a down year, or if people if they start getting players for their team, I think that's great and that's wonderful. I don't think maybe a 7-5, 6-6 year should be a down year for Illinois. That should be part of their rebuilding year. They should never be under 500 under Lovie Smith. And I'm not gonna put it on this year. Even though I think they should be 8-4, I'm not going to say this year. I'm going to say next year. Because next year, that's when he would have 3 recruiting classes under his belt. And then that's when the 8-4s should start each and every year. So, I'm predicting 8-4 this year. It shouldn't come out until next year. But I expect good things. Maybe even great things from Illinois fighting Illini. Once again, I apologize, folks. I don't know what has been going on all day. I've had trouble speaking, and I don't know what it is. My voice is very deep, as it already is, and sometimes words get caught up, and it's just I don't know, folks. I need a drink of water here. Okay, so we done Illinois. Let's go ahead and let's do Northwestern. Okay, so Northwestern, I think was coming off a really disappointing year, in my opinion. Under what I said about Lovie Smith, I think is certain about Pat Fitzgerald. Pat Fitzgerald has turned the Wildcats to where every now and then they'll jump up and they'll bite you in the ass and they'll get 10 wins and they'll go to the to the thing, or they'll get 10 wins and they'll be on January 1st. But you expect Northwestern to be 8-4, 9-3 every year. I mean, that's what you just expect, and that's something that is great to see. And he's done such an excellent job. There was even talks about him a couple years ago taking the Texas job before Charlie Strong got it. So again, I expect this to be awesome. Now, one thing the Northwestern Wildcats have started doing is that they are trying to get games against Duke, against Stanford, and against Notre Dame, because they feel those 3 teams, along with them, are the teams that the students that they are looking for. If they have that, other teams will take great athletes that maybe have C averages, maybe even some D averages, but if they are great athletes, they will take them. Northwestern, Duke, Stanford, Notre Dame, they're not that. They want your B students. They want teams that at least have a B and are doing other things. So they take a certain type of standard. They truly believe in the term student athlete, while a lot of the other colleges just believe in athlete. So recently they've trying to get games against Duke and Stanford and Notre Dame, so that those students that are looking at them, no, look, come to us, come to Northwestern, come to us. So I like that. I like that about them, and I think they continue on to doing that. So they start with Nevada Saturday, then they play at Duke. See, then they have Bowling Green, then they get into your Big Ten schedule of Wisconsin, Penn State, Maryland, Iowa, Michigan State, Nebraska, Purdue, Minnesota, and then at Illinois. So they miss Michigan. They miss Ohio State. They do play Wisconsin and Penn State, who are right now in the top 10 of the polls. So they do play those guys. But again, this could be one of these seasons where if you get past Wisconsin and Penn State, right? Get past Wisconsin and Penn State, we're talking about an 11-1, maybe even a 12-0 Northwestern Wildcats team. Now that's not what I'm predicting. I think they will lose to Wisconsin and they will lose to Penn State. They will lose another game, whether it's Michigan State or Nebraska or maybe even Purdue. They will lose another one of those games, but I would expect the Northwestern Wildcats to be 9-3 at the end of the season, and I think that would be perfect for them. 9-3 this year is where Northwestern should be. Go Cats! So let's check out the Northern Illinois Huskies. Now, the Northern Illinois Huskies are one of those teams that are in the other 5 conference that obviously does well. You know, they have a pedigree like Boise State has, where they are always seemingly just there, and they are there for the taking, and they do what they do best, and you expect them to be in the top 15 ranking at the end of the season. So let's look at the Northern Illinois Husky schedule. You're talking about Boston College. You're talking about they play Eastern Illinois, Nebraska. Step up to the Big Ten. Get San Diego State. Those are your 4 non-conference games. Then we get into conference play. By the way, can I just say, I talked about Illinois and Northwestern just a minute ago. As you can see, their homecoming games were not, against FCS schools. If I'm correct, Northwestern's homecoming games either against Purdue or in Minnesota. The team is their conference. Again, the Illinois Fighting Illini homecoming game is either against Indiana or it's the Northwestern game. So it really should. For all the talk about the SEC, some of the things the SEC does is ridiculous. As we go back to Alabama's homecoming game is against Mercer. Whatever. Okay, so. Now Northern Illinois gets into conference play. Kent State, Buffalo, Bowling Green, Eastern Michigan, Toledo, Ball State, Western Michigan, Central Michigan. They play all 3 Michigan teams in the conference. I mean, really, Northern Illinois should have just went ahead and said, instead of Nebraska, instead of Eastern Illinois, just put Michigan and Michigan State. Play all 5 Michigan teams. That's what they should have did. My heavens, it just wow. Okay, so I gotta be honest with you. I don't know a lot about the MAC and the things in the MAC, but again, I'm just going off of history. I'm gonna say Northern Illinois is going to be 10-2 at the end. They're going to go into the conference championship game, the MAC championship game. They're going to win that. They're going to be 11-2, and I think that there's going to be another team out of the other 5 that's going to be better than them, and they're going to get one of those premier games of the Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, and the other bowl. Gator Bowl, the New Year's Six, as they cut to call it. They're going to get into one of those New Year's Six games. So they won't make it into the New Year's Six, but they will definitely be in the conversation. So I'm going to say an 11-2 for the Northern Illinois Huskies. Now, last but definitely not least, how about my Notre Dame Fighting Irish? Yeah, baby. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, if this thing will load. Alright, thank you. Now, they've lost Deshaun Kaiser. He is now in Cleveland as the starting quarterback there. Malik Zaire, because of things that went down, transferred to Florida. I don't know necessarily who their quarterback will be. I will find out Saturday. But this is a team that was very disappointing last year. It just wasn't the fact that they didn't make. They absolutely sucked. They only won 4 games. And listen, I think Notre Dame, and I said this just a minute ago. I said Notre Dame every 3 years should make it into the college football playoff. But every year they should be no less than 8 wins. Every year. I've said that about Illinois. They should no less than 8 wins. Because I know that an 8-win year should be the down year. Should be the rebuilding year for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Especially now since they do this thing where now they play 5 ACC teams. They play 5 ACC teams. So that's what this should be. This should be every year they should go ahead and just play whatever they should play their teams and then get the 18. And really, to be honest with you, I know what they want to do. They want to, they're doing this so that they can get other teams. It used to be every year the Notre Dame Fighting Irish played 16. They was already in a conference of their own, basically, because every year they played Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, the 3 Big Ten teams. Then they played USC and Stanford from the Pac-10, and they played Navy. So those were the 16, and then they had 6 games for everybody else, and they wouldn't put on scrubs. They played Pittsburgh and Boston College, and they played other teams, that were good teams. So they've always been that way. And now with this ACC team, I understand why, because Notre Dame joined the ACC and all the other sports, but they didn't. They wanted to stay independent. However, they made a thing because of that. They wanted to, for the ACC thing, to join the ACC and other sports. They had to do a thing where they signed on and played 5 games in the ACC, 5 ACC teams on their schedule every year. Well, and for that they had to get rid of the games against the Big Ten, Michigan, Purdue, and Michigan State, and I really dislike that. There's been some talk about them revamping up and opening up the thing with Michigan again, and so that along with the 5 ACC games and Stanford, Navy, USC games, then there will be Michigan. So basically, you're talking about 9 games every year that they, just like everybody in all the other conferences, right? 9 games that you play each and every year, and then that would give them 3 games to work out and get teams. Like this year, the second game of the season, they're playing Georgia, the 5th ranked team. That's okay. They signed on to play Ohio State, I think, in the 2020 and 2021 season, something like that. So, and I think that's okay. And then also what they've also done is they've also gone with having the opener not be a strong team, per se. They're playing at home against Temple, which I kind of do like that. Because until Notre Dame gets back to proving that they are a legitimate college football team playoff each and every year, where they are like Alabama, where they don't rebuild, they just reload. Until it gets back to that, I am fine with them doing a soft opener. So, and I think that opener proves to where they are at and where they're going to go. Like they thought the soft opener was against South Florida a few years ago, and South Florida blew them out of the water, and that turned out to be a bad year. So, and we'll see if they have a tough time with Temple, it's going to be it could be a bad year for Notre Dame or an average year. But if they handle Temple handily, then maybe Irish fans like myself have something to look for. Let's go over the schedule. We talked about Temple in Georgia. Then we go at Boston College, at Michigan State, versus Miami of Ohio, which is something I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of wondering about that one. Here's the thing: Notre Dame has never played an FCS school. They have never played an FCS school. They've always played FBS school. The Miami of Ohio is an FBS school, but that is kind of one that is kind of I'm wondering about, but that's okay. They're at North Carolina, then that game against USC, North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Miami. I think Wake Forest would be the homecoming game. Then they get Navy at the neutral field, the Baltimore game. That's what they do. Or is it at home? Because there's a little star under it. I don't know what the star means. They don't have a play for it, so I don't know if they're the home team in the Baltimore Stadium or if they're the home team at Notre Dame Stadium. I don't know necessarily exactly what that means, but if they're at home, that might be the homecoming game, and then they go to Stanford. The one thing I would change, I told you about the other things I would change about Notre Dame's schedule. The other thing I would change about it is that I would really like to see Notre Dame take that last game and have that last game be a home game. You know, what they do is that they go out, they switch off. Stanford, the odd years, USC on the even years, and they go out to California and they recruit out in California. That's why they do that, which is totally understandable. But I would really like to see them play home games, basically because there might be snow. That's the reason why I love snow games. I can't help it. I love snow games. Notre Dame and Indiana snow games. Wouldn't it be great to see the Trojans come to South Bend, Indiana, face Notre Dame? Last game of the season, snow in the snow. How cool would that be? It does not happen, unfortunately, but there it is. My record for them. I'm gonna say 9-3. They should lose the game against USC, the game against Miami, and the game against Stanford. So, I think they can beat Georgia because it's at home. I think they can beat Georgia because it's at home. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think they can beat Georgia. And USC's at home, but I have USC going to the thing. So obviously they're gonna win. Miami and Stanford are on the road in hot climates, so I just think that's what's going to happen. The heat's going to get to them there, and so Navy's been a tough one for the last decade. Navy's been a tough out, not been as easy as it was before the last decade. But I think they'll beat Navy at home. They should end up 9-3, maybe beat on New Year's Day, maybe New Year's Eve in the ball game. So really quick. Let's go ahead and let's recap really quick what the things is. For my 4 teams for the college football playoff: Michigan 13-0, USC 13-0, Alabama 13-0, Oklahoma 13-0. For the first time in this new era, 4 teams perfect, no losses. Alabama, Michigan State meet in the national championship game. Michigan slips by Alabama, wins. Jim Harbaugh brings home the national title for the Michigan Wolverines, not Michigan State. Ooh. As here for my local teams, Northern Illinois 11-2 might make the New Year's 6. Gonna fall out because I think someone else would pop up in there. Northwestern 9-3, Illinois 8-4, Notre Dame 9-3. All right, so that is it. Right now, thank you guys. This is the first usually my live streams are reactions to wrestling, but I decided to do I decided to do a live stream this for two reasons. One, I kind of thought this would like to be the easiest way, since I wasn't going to go over many teams. I was just going to talk about the 4 teams in the playoffs and then my 4 local teams and something like that. So I thought that would be easier. I kind of also wanted to do the whole thing with Spreaker. If you guys don't know, I have a Spreaker site for podcasting, and every now and then I would do a podcast. It's free. It's 15 minutes. I think that's actually good enough for a podcast where I talk about sports, where I think, so things like that. So I usually do the podcast. I sometimes upload it to YouTube. Actually, if you actually look and search for the game according to me, you might see my past streams. I did one probably when Jay Cutler was signed by Miami a couple weeks ago. So there's that. But so yeah, and I kind of wanted to do that last year. And also another thing was that I also done a pro football season preview, and that will be coming out tomorrow morning. So hit the notification button if you get it, so that you can get it up. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and do that. So I thought, to make it kind of differentiate, this one would be a live stream. And I had fun with this. This was fun. This is actually pretty cool. I think that as it gets down to when the college football playoff is announced, I would do this again. I would do the live stream to talk about it. I actually had a lot of comments and a lot of views on the one from last year after they announced it, and I recorded it and then I put it up. It was a rapid reaction. I put it up and got a lot of comments and a lot of views off that one. So I think maybe I'll do that again this year, and then we can talk about it live. And it'll be fun for everyone, I think. Talk about who got snubbed and who didn't, and let's go back and check to see if I was right. If I was right in picking the 4 teams. So all that being said, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And again, thanks so much for watching. This is your boy AJ Tripp signing off. The next live stream, unless something happens, will be a rapid reaction of WWE No Mercy. All my wrestling fans out there. Yeah, after No Mercy, I will come on here, we'll talk about it, we'll review it, and then we'll have some fun with it, alright? So, be on the lookout for that. Again, click the notification bell, because when I go live, you'll get a notification that I'm live. And we can talk about WWE No Mercy. That is it for me right now. This is your boy AJ Tripp signing off. Go Cats, go Irish, go Illini, and Husky on. Is that what Huskies do? Is that their thing? Husky on? Well, I'm creating it. Hashtag 2.